And I'm gonna bake biscuit chandeliers, biscuit chandeliers. Hello and welcome to Colins Time to Bake, baking with the Bake Off. This week, for the very first time ever, I'm not actually going to be making the technical challenge. I know, right? What? If you're one of my baking buddies and you've been following along with me through my technical bake journey since 2014, where I basically just make the technicals from the Bake Off every single year, you'll know that I like to do that. This year, however, is the first time ever I've not really been able to afford to do the technicals. I'm sorry. So I did not make the mamoules this week. Again, I've posted below a link to people who have done the mamoules, and I think they do a very good job of it, so follow that. What I'm going to make this week, by popular vote on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, follow me on there, why don't you? The most popular vote was for me to make the Biscuit Chandelier. And I'm gonna bake biscuit chandeliers, biscuit chandeliers. I'm gonna make such a mess of it all, 'cause it's dropped on the floor. Do you like it? Chandeliers! So, my biscuit chandelier this week. Because it was Spice Week, I decided to make my gingerbread, which is my vegan recipe. You can find it on my website. Go on my website if you want to make that. There were 3 types of biscuit on my chandelier this week. One was a vanilla chocolate swirl. I know what you're thinking, that's not a spice. Shut up. A cayenne, vanilla and chocolate marble heart. I know, right? So many words there. Cayenne is the spice there, basically. And again, the gingerbread. The extra special thing about this recipe is that they're all vegan, which ties into the vegan week for Bake Off, which I should hopefully be able to do the technical for. So what I'm going to be showing you this week is how to make the vanilla and chocolate spirals. Oh, isn't that cute? Right, so that's pretty much it. Let's get started with baking with the Bake Off. Now, to make your biscuit chandelier, you need to have some sort of structure. So what I did for the structure was I used my gingerbread recipe to make 2 circles. The size, the first one was the same diameter as a dinner plate, just a regular dinner plate with the circle cut out, so it was basically just like a hoop. The circle in the middle, I then cut out a circle out from the middle of that and made another hoop from that. So it basically just became 2 circles, which I then tied up with different kinds of wool and different kinds of string, so it was all suspended and looked very pretty. I then dropped it on the floor. So I did not have my suspension. Whoops. Put it on the floor, didn't it? It's so beautiful. Spent so long doing this. I dropped it. This is not my ear. Yeah, that happened. But if you manage to make that, great. Don't drop it on the floor. That's the first rule. Rule number 2, make lots of biscuits. Not 150 like Raoul, but just decide what your theme is. My theme this week was shapes and colours. I also wanted to try out my vegan biscuit recipe. Now I'm in the States and have slightly different ingredients just to see what difference it makes using other brands. So there we go. Right, that's enough of me prattling along. You'll probably want to learn how to make them. So you've got your structure ready, you want something to hang off it. Let's get started. Take a bowl and add 400 grams of plain flour. Then add 140 grams of castor sugar. Add to this 2.5 tablespoons of corn flour and 3 tablespoons of icing sugar. Then add 140 grams of vegan butter. This can be olive butter, other veggie butter, whatever like margarine-y spread thing you've got, just as long as it's vegan, use that, that's absolutely fine. Add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. Now what you need to do is mix this all together with your hands so it forms breadcrumbs. It's quite important that you do this so it's not actually coming together at this point, because the next bit is the tricky bit, which is the shortening. So split your mixture in half. You can do this by eye, that's what I did because I just figured why not. Or you could split it in half by weighing everything if you wanted to do that and get it exact. Now, in one of the bowls, you'll want to add 50 grams of cocoa powder. So this makes it nice and chocolatey. Yeah, see what I've done there. Now, take 140 grams of vegan shortening or veggie shortening. I'm using Crisco now I'm in the States, but you can use Trex if you're in the UK or if you have it anywhere else. But any sort of version of vegetable shortening works perfectly. So take your biscuit mix with the cocoa powder in first, and slowly add in your shortening, and keep mixing this together with your hands until it comes together into a nice dough. You'll know it's brought together and it won't be too sticky. You want it to basically just feel like a nice cookie dough. Once it's done that, put between 2 layers of parchment paper and roll flat so you've got a nice rectangle. I would say probably about 15 centimeters by maybe 30 centimeters long. You can do this as neatly as you want to, or as you can see, as roughly as anything, because I'm just not that fancy, as you can tell by my tatty old wig. Now you'll want to do the same with the vanilla flavoured mixture. So start adding your shortening again until it comes together. You probably won't need as much just because there's not as much dry ingredients in there. Take your vanilla mixture and roll this flat to about the same size as your chocolate one. Now you'll want to place this on top of your chocolate rectangle and then roll over these together so that they sort of join together a little bit. And now you'll want to roll it up. So it's kind of like if you've ever made a Swiss roll. Take the short end, roll this up slightly so you have the beginning of your roll, and then start to lift your parchment paper. Oh, before you start rolling, make sure that you've cut a neat ends at the top and bottom, because this will just make it a little bit nicer when it comes to the end. Keep rolling it. It probably will split. If it does split, don't worry about it. Just start to massage it together. Just keep massaging this together because it is dough, so you can repair the holes, don't worry. Keep rolling this together until it's all fully rolled up like a Swiss roll, and then you'll want to chop off the ends. So what you can see here is that I forgot to chop the top off of my Swiss roll, and now I'm trying to edit it and it just makes a bit of a mess. Once you've made your spiral log, that's what we'll call it, pop it in the fridge for about 20 minutes, and that will just keep it a little more solid and stop it from smooshing when you cut it. Take it out the fridge, slice it up into centimetre long cookies. So they are about that thick. Place onto a baking tray and pop into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius, or guess mark 4. And leave this in for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just keep checking at 10 minutes, then 15, and then 20. You'll know they're ready if you lift one up and it's starting to brown on the base of it, and that's when they're definitely ready. You don't want it to be any more than that, otherwise you'll end up with a burnt side and a non-burnt side. Nobody wants that. Take out, leave to cool. Once you're ready, string everything up, tie onto your wonderful chandelier structure, and don't drop it on the floor. Simple! And then hang somewhere for everyone to see, and then they can eat it as they wish. If you have not made a chandelier structure, or like me, you've dropped it, use a coat hanger. I know, classy, right? So anything left over, you can just smoosh this all into a ball so all the colours start to combine and give this wonderful marble effect. Roll this out flat to about 1 centimetre thick, and then use any kind of cookie cutter you want to and start cutting out. For the spice cookies, if you wanted to add a cayenne or a chili spice to this, because it's got the chocolate in there, it'll bring that out. Just add about half a teaspoon of your cayenne or chili pepper to the mixture when you're kneading it together, and it should hopefully all combine. If you want to, feel free to try this, because it's raw cookie dough, it's fine, there's no eggs and stuff in, you're good. Just eat it a little, and if it feels like it's got a good spice, then you're sorted. Roll this out flat, cut out the shapes you want, stick in the oven for again, same 10, then 15, then 20 minutes until they start to brown on one side. Take out, leave to cool, make a hole in the top or wherever you want to, and string up on your chandeliers. Don't want to make the chandeliers, at least you now know how to make 2 different kinds of vegan biscuits. 3 if you count the gingerbread, which is already on my website. Oh, I'm so generous with my vegan cookies, eh? Now it's time for the taste test. I've already had my gingerbread, I know that's good because I've made it before and I'm modest about it. So what I've got here is my cayenne or chili pepper hearts. It's got a good warmth to it. And my vanilla and chocolate swirls, because not everyone likes the spice. Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it. This is how to make the cookies for your chandeliers. Yeah, try it. I'm still seeing it. Living my best life. If you like this wig and want to see more of it, feel free to watch my musical bake of Cheap Cakes, basically a parody on Cheap Thrills. We want cheap cake! We want cheap cake! I'm hilarious. That's me for this week. Thank you very much for following along and appreciating the fact that I couldn't afford to make the technical, so I made something else instead. I tried to do a Showstopper and it didn't quite work. Maybe I should have gone for the technical. I pulled a Terry this week. It all went a bit wrong. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media where I do update, especially TikTok where I do 2 new bakes a week for 15-second clips. It's a lot of fun on there. They got some music. I love me some music. And that's pretty much it. My name is Colin. This is Colin's Time to Bake. Baking with the Bake Off 2018. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.